Charles Sillman at the line.
Francis a step behind the others, and Spencer a step in front.
She will repeat.
And Hasse goes to the lead. Here comes D'Agostino trying to press her.
There is no response from Hasse. D'Agostino running a brilliant race for her. It's Bryshon Nellam. Nellam coming down the straightaway. Look at the straight. Nellam will win the title. And today, more titles loom in front of America's elite collegiate track and field athletes who are hoping their year-long efforts bring them closer to obtaining that team victory. It will take speed, power, and determination, and in the end, there will be a champion. Just about an hour and a half drive from where we are right now is the beautiful, rugged Oregon coastline. But we are in Tracktown, USA, Hayward Field on the campus of the University of Oregon for the 2013 NCAA Outdoor Championships presented by Northwestern Mutual. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dwight Stones, as always, with Larry Rawson, and this is my favorite track meet that there is. The Olympic Games, the Olympic Trials, very important track meets, but the NCAA Track and Field Championships, just the best. Many of the seniors here, last competition that they will ever have for their colleges, and this is all about the team title here in Eugene. And Larry, it is so tight that it will most likely come down to the last event, the 4x400 relay.
And Dwight, it often does. And on the women's side right now, Kansas has amassed a lot of points right now and has a measurable lead over Oregon. Oregon, however, has 5 entrants in this competition still to remain among the 8 finalists events that we'll see here today. On the men's side, you've got Southern Cal leading. However, Arkansas expected to score some major points here in the competition. However, take a look at Texas A&M. Surging from no points to 21 from day 2 to day 3. And now the final day of competition, they have the most entrants here to be expected on the men's side in their competition, and that their people in the final are expected to score big points.
And of course, you have to have, for great teams, you have to have great individuals, and there certainly are a couple worth noting. On the men's side, USC's Bryshon Nellam going for a rare double. Yesterday wins the 400, today he's running the 200.
And he has got the fastest time in the prelim. It has not been done, a 200-400 double in 62 years.
And on the women's side, Brianna Rollins of Clemson already set the collegiate record in Thursday's semifinals.
She ran a sensational 12.47 seconds and hopes to better that before a terrific Hayward Field crowd here today.
Well, we mentioned that it could come down to the relays. Actually, the relays bookend the meet today. The 4x1 starts it, the 4x4 ends it. And for more about that, let's go down to the third member of our broadcast team, Lewis Johnson.
All right, Dwight, well, the relays are definitely going to be a big part of this final day of the NCAA Championships, and you are looking at the third and final exchange in the 4x100 meter relays. 20 meters is the zone, and this is the baton. The athletes will try and move through that zone. It's only about 11.5 inches long, only 3 ounces, very light, and if you don't get the baton through the zone, you're disqualified. On the men's side, that's exactly what Texas A&M experienced at the regional competition. They went in with the fastest time in the nation, couldn't get it through this zone, and they're out. They're missing 10 valuable points here at the championship. And on the women's side, Kansas has a huge shot at winning a national championship today, but they're going to have to do great here in the 4x1 and 4x4. And sandwiched in between, their only other entry today, Paris Daniels in the 200-meter final.
All right, Lewis, well, it couldn't be a better day. Just 73 degrees, the temperature down a little bit, the wind also under control, and a beautiful sunny forecast. As we get ready for the first event, the women's 4x100 meter relay, Texas A&M Aggies set the current collegiate record 4 years ago now, and the University of Central Florida has brought a great quartet to the NCAA Championships. 2 of their 100-meter finalists on the second leg, Oriole Scott and anchor Octavius Freeman. If they get to stick around, they could be very hard to beat.
Dwight, keep an eye particularly on Oriole Scott running the second leg, and the anchor, Octavius Freeman, the sophomore. Brilliant starters and stars. Phyllis Francis, 100 to 400 meters. She is brilliant. She is leading off. She'll pass to English Gardner, and Gardner's will run that long straightaway in the back we'll touch about. For Oregon, you're seeing Jenna Prandini and Chinzoba Okadobi will anchor for Oregon.
And for more, let's go down to Lewis for a report.
Well, English Gardner there pacing, getting ready to run this second leg for Oregon. And if you look down at her right ankle, she has some tape on it. I talked to her before the meet today, and she's gotten through that 10.94 in the 100 meters. But she told me that that tape kind of helps to hold the ligaments together, because when she dorsal flex, in other words, when that toe comes up toward the knee, that's when she feels the pain. She runs the second leg all the time, Dwight, down the backstretch, and that's the straightest, longest leg, which is the best for her, so nothing new there. But she's pushing through the pain, believing that she can try and deliver something special for her team here at Hayward Field.
All right, Lewis, thanks for that. And it's so important for the Oregon Ducks, the ladies, to score well here as we look at Texas A&M, also a formidable quartet.
They certainly are, Dwight. They have 3 of the top 10 times in the world this year, including the number 3 time in the world as far as rankings go. So Texas A&M might be the favorite over the other 2 schools, Central Florida and Oregon.
Cannot stress enough how important it is for the Oregon Lady Ducks. They're going for the Triple Crown. They won the NCAA title in cross country and indoor track. They're trying to make it the Triple Crown here with the outdoor title as well. And we also can't forget about Kansas, who is in 2. They just have 3 entries in the meet today, the 2 relays and 1 200-meter runner. And first pass, good for Oregon. And there goes English Gardner, the 100-meter champ, down the backstretch.
They are in the lead right now by about a step is Oregon.
But right there is University Central Florida. Afia Charles up against Jenna Prandini.
Now here comes A&M.
A&M making a late rush. They pass first. Oregon, kind of a shaky pass. It's A&M. And now Central Florida. And Oregon's going to get past at the tape and get down to 4th. They had 3rd to the last 5 meters. But Texas A&M, the last half of that race, they were just better than everyone else in speed and in passes.
2 fairly shaky baton passes for Oregon did them in. This is the first pass that's come down around the turn, and this is going to go to English Gardner from Phyllis Francis. Watch, they get the baton just about first. Other teams are just a few split seconds behind. She runs a phenomenal exchange. However, not as quite as good. Brandini did not get out quite as fast. Watch the pass from the left hand to the right. Other teams at that point have made up just a couple of inches, but it was on the turn here that I think the pass was very smooth for A&M. Look at that. And less so, they took 2 efforts to get in there. Took 2 steps to get the baton into Okadobe's hands, and then she faded down the stretch as she was passed.
So A&M wins it in a walk. Central Florida finishing 3rd, and Oregon had 2nd, and Oregon had 3rd until right at the end. Clemson nipped them at the tape, so Oregon getting just 5 points in the 4x1. We'll have to see if that's enough as they continue to go for the title. Still to come, the men's 200 with 400-meter champion Bryshon Nellam, A&M's Amir Webb, and Ole Miss Olympian Isaiah Young. But up next is the relays. Can 2012 defending champ LSU repeat? Back at Hayward Field for more of the 2013 NCAA Outdoor Championships. We are in Eugene, Oregon. A final note on the women's 4x100. That's the 5th time in 8 years that A&M has won the title. First time since 2010 as we get ready now for the men's version. Collegiate and NCAA records right there by the Horned Frogs of TCU and Florida, the defending champions. They have a great quartet, and it's all about passing the baton, though, Larry.
Antron Wright will lead off for them to Hugh Graham, to Leonardo Seymour, and then Dedrick Dukes, the sophomore, will anchor. These 3 teams we're highlighting, including Auburn, have all run within a 1/10 of a second of each other for a full lap around the track. Auburn, Jeremy Hardy, Harry Adams, great sprinter for them, will take the 2nd straightaway leg, to Akeem Haynes, and then to Duchesne Farrier, the senior for Auburn.
This is how they'll line up. Alabama, Auburn, Florida, LSU in the middle of the track.
Dwight, they have a 20-meter zone to pass the baton. It's not where the outgoing runner is, it's where the baton is. As long as that's in the hand of the runner, even if he stepped over that line, that's what the officials in each zone are watching for in this race.
There's Alabama's foursome.
And they've been great baton passers this year. They really have. 38.77 seconds.
Alabama, Auburn, and Florida all within 0.02 of a second. But again, it's all about the baton passes. Texas A&M passed out of the zone in the regional. They didn't even get to bring their foursome here to the NCAA championships. It's a lot of points that they end up leaving on the table.
Yep. What athletes sometimes do is they put a piece of tape down to indicate where they should start running based on when the incoming runner hits that piece of tape. They'll frequently take 3, 4, 5 steps blind, snap that hand back, depending whether it's a women's team or a men's and how fast they're going, and they do 3+ steps blind, then snap the hand back for the reception of the baton.
And this gives freshman Antoine Wright of Florida, we were seeing a moment ago, a little bit more reason to be nervous. It's very tough to be a freshman at this track meet, especially on a team somewhat in contention.
Graham, a very steady hand running the second leg, 100 to 400 meters. He is one of their top athletes at the school and a very consistent performer who provides steadiness for the freshmen on the team like Wright.
Contrast, Jeremy's Hardy of Auburn, a senior, leading off for the Tigers.
Auburn, very deep team. They're in lane 4.
Alabama in 3, Auburn in 4, Florida in 5, and LSU in 6. And right now, Florida off very well, and a good stick.
Florida, Alabama pretty much tied on that baton pass. Auburn a step behind.
Hugh Graham Jr. for Florida, going to Leonardo Seymour. The SEC dominates in this event.
Florida up by a stride, accepting the baton at that point.
And it's still Florida with the first pass, but what's happening in 3? Alabama right there, as is Auburn, just like they were on paper. Very, very close, and it's going to be Alabama right at the line.
Wow. I show you how close it was. We're sitting right here, and that could have been Florida, too, I think. We'll see. 38-54 unofficially.
Now 38-53, fastest time in the country this year. Florida won it. It looked like Alabama in 3, but it was so very close. 1/100th of a second separating them. Florida wins it. They defend. 10 big points for the Gators.
To show you the talent that you're watching here at the NCAAs, that is the 5th fastest time in the world this year for a 4x1. Auburn was really back by a step or two, and it was Alabama and Alabama and Florida in the white uniforms. Second pass. Watch the two teams in lanes 3 and 5 get these batons in the white uniforms as they pass. You could, at home, can try and pick off exactly who's got the lead as well. Look how even they are. Florida a little bit of a lead at that point, I thought, for Florida.
Yeah, they passed first.
Right, and coming back, Duchesne Farrier edged into the lead. Watch the surge put on by Florida by Dedrick Dukes. Watch this.
Farrier just started his lean too soon.
Wow, great.
Great 1-2-3 finish. Florida successfully defends with the fastest time in the country this year, which is fitting. This is the most important and the last meet of the year. Let's go down to Lewis.
All right, thanks very much. An excited bunch of guys here. Dedrick, it looked like the other teams were clearly in the lead, but how were you guys able to hold on? Tell me about this last stick.
It wasn't. We just was trusting our marks, get the stick around, move the stick through the zone, trust each other, and we do what we do best.
And guys, what do you think about this time? Fastest in the world.
I mean, it speaks for itself. Florida team's tied on the line. We had to do what we had to do. We hungry. We just got to go get it.
All right, 10 big points for Florida, Dwight.
All right, Lewis. That keeps them in things barely, but almost everything has to go right for the Gators. We'll be back with more. Still to come, lots of jumping and throwing from the NCAA championships. But up next, it's the women's 1500. Can Ann Kesselring help her Lady Ducks to the team title that has eluded them for so many years? Welcome back to Eugene. Next event on the track, the women's 1500 meters. There's the collegiate record and the NCAA meet records. Ann Kesselring from Oregon, the first time she's run the 1500 meters at the national level. Very pivotal race for the Ducks.
It certainly is. A lot of pressure on her shoulders. She has a host of women in this field that run within 2 seconds of each other and her time. She's run 4:13 plus for the 1500 meters this event. But so having a whole host of these ladies, it's going to take a terrific performance by her to get 6 or 8 points, I think, Dwight.
Oregon has 2 entries, 12 athletes in this final. Also Becca Friday of Oregon. They're hoping that both of them will score to keep Oregon's hopes alive. A lot of